We're back to farming more of Asmongold's brain rot. Now, we're about to see the impact of this guy getting all of his news from his Twitter timeline, and we're going to see whether or not he still has any critical thinking ability left in order to question whether or not a federal representative might be being untruthful to him, all because they're loyal to Trump. I have a feeling he's just gonna eat up every word she says. That is to say, Asmongold and Tulsi Gabbard. I saw this pop up in my recommended. They caught Fauci. You know this is about to be some genuine brain rot. Let's see.
Oh, here we go. I found this to be interesting. Today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents exposing how Dr. Fauci provided millions in taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research at the Wuhan.
Wow, they're advancing it. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but lately the right has been pushing the gain-of-function conspiracy theory around COVID lately. A big part of it is because YouTube has now lifted all of their rules around misinformation about COVID-19. So you can basically just upload videos about COVID now, and YouTube doesn't really care. They're not going to like tag you with any fact check or anything like that. I haven't gotten one of those fact check tags in a while, by the way. That's a little alarming. Regardless, though, now you can just make videos claiming that the COVID virus came from a lab in China, and that's what they've been claiming. Now they're claiming that they're having Tulsi Gabbard claim Fauci funded the gain of function research. Now, for those that don't know, the overwhelming consensus among the epidemiological community is that the virus originated from a wet market in Wuhan. Something like, God, I want to say like 200 miles away or so, 150, 200 miles away from the lab where they claim this gain of function research was taking place. And if you don't know what a wet market is, it's basically a massive, in the case of the Wuhan wet market, like many square blocks of flea market, but every stall, every like side-by-side cramped together table is full of live caged animals, and laid out on every table are like freshly butchered different animals for like purchase and consumption. There has been a long conversation about how that is guaranteed going to be the source of a future pandemic. Like, I remember it was literally one of the starting things in Plague Inc., I think, literally involved starting in the Wuhan wet market even before COVID happened. Like, it's been a known thing in the epidemiological community that, like, in general, Chinese wet markets are a pretty high risk of human to animal contact for viral spread, specifically viruses. So you really don't have a lot of situations where that many animals and that many people that are constantly leaving and going are coming into such close contact on a daily basis every day of the year, every year. It was an outbreak waiting to happen. And yet here we have all of these chuds trying to argue it was some kind of conspiracy. They made it on purpose.
On lab worked at politicized elements within the intelligence community to suppress the truth of the actions and to hide the virus lab leak origins, and lied to Congress while under oath in 2024.
Before the COVID pandemic, Dr. Fauci, as head of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases.
I like how we're supposed to take this seriously. Meanwhile, she's got her like YouTube influencer pop-up, Fauci exposed, with the white and red for like, this font style and this color format is meant for clickbait. This is the clickbait text. This text is used on YouTube to catch people's eye. And I'm looking at this, and this is the director of the CIA, if I'm not mistaken, or was the director. I think now she's stepped down, and I guess she's in a different position. Is this Tulsi video AI? It fucking might be, but Asmongold takes it as real. It's posted by Tulsi Gabbard, so who knows if it's AI? It could be her, it could not be. We know the White House posts AI videos of Trump, so who can say? Black, red, and white are so common on slop videos, yes. But it does work. It does work. It attracts the eye. It's just good clickbait. It's just good business. But I do not believe a word out of Tulsi here.
Provided millions in U.S. taxpayer dollars to fund dangerous gain-of-function research on bat coronaviruses at the Wuhan Institute of Virology. Which is now widely viewed as the source of the unintentional lab leak that sparked the pandemic. Now, in support of President Trump's maximum transparency
by widely viewed, she means by Trump supporters.
Mandate. Today, on my final day as Director of National Intelligence, I'm releasing never-before-seen communications and documents.
Yeah, she's AI. I don't know. A lot of these right-wing grifters, people like Tulsi, who are just kind of Russian puppets, they're very well trained in media appearances. They're media trained experts who have all their lines fed to them by, whether in this case it's Trump or the Russian government. They're really well-spoken people. They're trained to be well-spoken. So I get why it sounds like AI, and she might be, but it also might actually just be her, because these people talk this way.
That expose exactly how Fauci worked.
Fauci is pardoned by Biden? Well, who cares? Just unpardon him.
True. Just unpardon him.
What?
Asmongold's just a full-scale fascist now.
Why not?
Trump wants to, so do it.
Just do it anyway.
Yeah, fascism is cool, bro.
Gives a fuck.
With politicized career leadership
That's a thing?
in the intelligence community to suppress the truth about his actions, the virus's lab leak origins, and his role in directing U.S. funding for this dangerous research that caused immeasurable harm and countless lost lives. Now, these documents expose Fauci's direct role in influencing and manipulating IC assessments on COVID-19 and how
I cannot wait for them to release these documents, and it is the most AI-generated nothing burger of all time. Do you think there'll be any actual evidence? Do you think they're going to try to do the same thing they did with that Epstein files release? Y'all remember that, right? Where Trump ran on releasing the Epstein files, and then they released this, like, big binder to all these right-wing influencers, and it was like, part 1 of the Epstein files release. And then there was no part 2. They tried to completely bury it and say, oh, we released it already, and they made a big deal about it. And, of course, then then they made it illegal to not release the Epstein files, and then Trump still refused to release the Epstein files. It was a whole big shit show, but I have a feeling it's going to be like reading through the Epstein files part 1.
How Fauci lied to Congress in 2024 when under oath he denied knowledge of or participation in discussions with intelligence officials about viral research. We also received testimony from multiple intelligence community whistleblowers who reported retaliation for challenging the intelligence community's manipulation of intelligence on the virus's origins. Once again, revealing a clear pattern of suppressing dissent, silencing critics, and burying the truth.
I wonder why.
Dr. Fauci's close relationships with the intelligence community enabled him to assume 3 key roles.
It's insane how this is the path to anti-vax becoming overwhelmingly the belief of half of the countries. Like at this point, I don't even know if I want to fight it, right? Like, we know that this isn't just being done like, oh my God, we actually found out Fauci was doing something really shady. If they actually cared, they talk about like Fauci's history with like the AIDS epidemic. They don't, because the AIDS epidemic hurt gay people and they like hurting gay people. So they're not going to criticize that. But they do still like to rely on the fact that because of all that, Fauci's credibility isn't necessarily, it's less that his credibility is good and it's more that his reputation is pretty bad. And they rely on that pretty heavily for pushing this. But this is all in service of pushing the anti-vax agenda. This is how we get to overwhelming popularity of the anti-vax worldview. But what I really like about it is that it's a self-solving problem. If the majority of conservatives are fully anti-vax when the next big deadly outbreak happens, it's kind of a self-solving problem. I'll get myself vaxxed and boosted out the wazoo, and I'll lock myself up real good. I'll make sure I don't get the gigadeath COVID when that comes around. But if these guys aren't going to get vaccinated, you know what? I'm not going to make them.
That shield him from scrutiny. First, Dr. Fauci funded dangerous gain-of-function coronavirus research linked to Big Pharma and their pursuit of...
I love the idea of banning gain-of-function research, by the way. I imagine that if you're, like midwit dumbass, you probably just think, oh yeah, gain-of-function research, like making viruses more potent, why would you ever do that? That's evil. There is absolutely scientific merit to doing this, particularly when it comes to figuring out how to defeat viruses more powerful than anything that exists in nature yet, and making medicines that can accommodate it when they do come about in nature. That's just one thing that comes to mind. But of course, like, laboratory outbreaks are not very common. Like, we've not had, like, global pandemics happen from laboratory outbreaks, really. Like, this isn't even a case of that. So the idea that that gain of function research having happened at all, having been funded at all by the WHO and the CDC? Really? That's something that's happened? Of course it's something that's happened. Doesn't mean they made COVID and it broke out of a Wuhan lab. Once again, the epidemiological community agrees it came from, the most likely place it came from is the Wuhan wet market. Now, it could have come from somewhere else, but that is where the earliest case has been traced to, and it is the most plausible vector by which a virus like that would make the jump from something like a bat or a pangolin over to humans. Pangolins were the thing that were suspected to be, like, initially everybody thought it was pangolins, because epidemiologists had been saying that the pangolins at that Wuhan wet market were a danger for viral infection for years. So once COVID started spreading and we knew it came from Wuhan, every epidemiologist was like, I bet it came from those goddamn pangolins. And that immediately took hold.
Universal vaccines worth trillions of dollars.
Wow.
Second, Dr. Fauci was the behind-the-scenes advisor who, alongside his hand-picked so-called experts, pushed the intelligence community to endorse a natural animal origin to hide his dangerous gain-of-function research that he funded using taxpayer dollars. All of this in a
That's fucking insane.
deliberate attempt to cover up the truth and shift the blame and attention away from Fauci's own actions. Third, Dr. Fauci became the nation's pandemic pundit.
God, oh my, so much of these guys' politics are driven by their boners. You can see how many of them in chat are calling Tulsi mommy, and it just reminds me of Shuanhead, when Shuanhead was pretending to be a leftist and was voting for Tulsi in the 2020 primary. It was like, that is just the absolutely most unsurprising thing ever, I should hope to you guys, to find out that Shuanhead was a Tulsi supporter when Tulsi pretended to be a Democrat. That Shuanhead fell for it, presumably fell for it. I'm sure she bought it.
He publicly pushed lies, disinformation, and censorship using every platform available.
And they also shut down and destroyed the lives and reputations of anybody who disagreed with it. That's the other really big important component, is that the COVID censorship can never be forgotten.
Really? The COVID censorship shut down and destroyed lives? Really? All the people who pushed the anti-vax shit aren't either presidents of the United States, hold like very powerful positions in government now, or have their own talk shows and Fox News shows? Really? Like, once again, we're doing the a million microphones around them as they scream they've been censored bit? Okay.
Now, according to hundreds of reviewed emails, which are included in this release, the intelligence community almost always incorporated Fauci's recommendations. He promoted a fraudulent paper whose publication he helped prompt as legitimate information for intelligence community consideration. Senior analysts praised Dr. Fauci not as a policymaker, but as what they called an unbiased guide to the real coronavirus experts, while deliberately ignoring experts who might dissent from Fauci's narratives.
Yep.
Now, Fauci didn't stop.
There was no ignored experts. Once again, this is all nonsense. They've done this since the CDC dared to update any information on the virus. Any admission that initial beliefs on the virus and how it worked and what you should do to avoid it were immediately labeled as flip-flopping and an admission of lying, not an admission of, if anything, an adherence to the truth, a willingness to say, oh, we were wrong about this, we have more info, this is what we know now. Instead, they twist that into proof. Oh, look, flip-flopping. Oh, they said one thing and then they said the other. Oh, that means they're liars. It's a very brain-dead logic, but it works on these people very well, might I add.
Civil class action? Guys, the way I would solve this, it's
let me guess.
People
killing,
are
violence.
It's crazy how I don't even know what to say.
Up there.
Someone in chat said the gallows are calling. Gallows, yeah, that's about what I expect. Kill them all. Kill them all. Get away with it because you're the biggest streamer on Twitch and no one cares. You'll never get banned.
He blatantly lied to Congress under oath during his 2024 testimony to the House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic, denying that he ever spoke to any intelligence agency about COVID. Now, the correspondence I'm releasing today directly contradicts his sworn testimony. Now, we received statements from multiple whistleblowers revealing that the intelligence analysts who dared to challenge Dr. Fauci's COVID origin conclusions faced threats of retaliation,
Yep.
marginalization.
This happened to everybody. And they even tried to force this on social media platforms.
And many suffered.
They tried to force it on social media platforms. They did force it on social media platforms, you mean? Like, they absolutely did. There was absolutely bans for people who are spreading misinfo on YouTube and stuff. Now there's not. That's why all this shit is now taking off, is because all these big tech CEOs have been ordered by Trump not to suppress misinformation anymore.
Career setbacks. For example, a contractor was terminated just days after
happened to her
coming
hair?
forward to
It's called
ODNI
aging.
as a whistleblower. Another example.
Asmongold is my hero. Cruel. Hopefully you get that brain tumor sorted out, because if it gets any bigger, you're just gonna have a stroke and die while you're like taking a piss one morning. So go ahead, go to the doctor, get that tumor dealt with.
Those who advocated for the lab leak hypothesis or expressed dissenting views were reminded by their managers
Oh.
that leadership would determine
Hey, by
which
the way.
analysts would be promoted and which would not.
Yeah.
The message was
Implicit
clear.
threats.
Go along or be punished. Senior leaders also sought to undermine whistleblowers by removing anonymity, which is required in the whistleblower process,
Oh.
as they made their complaints.
Well, that's
and
convenient.
also insisting that their managers or attorneys be present during ODNI meetings where these whistleblowers were coming forward with their
You know what's really funny? And I feel like anybody who follows the intelligence agency right now should be very, like, eye raised at this. Since when does the Trump admin actually give a shit about intelligence agency whistleblowers? Like, wasn't it, who's the guy that's going viral right now? John Kiriakou? Kiriakou? He works for Russia now, but he's very open about it because, you know, I'm pretty sure wanted right now still. But he went to prison already because I think he's the guy that outed that the CIA was torturing terror suspects extrajudicially. Well, hell, they were doing torture. I'm pretty sure he's the guy who leaked it, or at least he's one of the first guys to have ever leaked it, and he went to prison for it. And meanwhile, like, he's very open about the fact that he would like to be pardoned so he can get his, like, what is it, $600,000 severance payment from the CIA back, which is being withheld. And yet here you've got Tulsi and Trump, who absolutely do not give a fuck about him and are not going to pardon him. And then remember in the first term when all these Trump supporters genuinely thought that Trump might pardon Snowden or Julian Assange? Nope, Trump didn't I don't think Trump pardoned any whistleblowers. Like, any.
testimony, obviously creating an atmosphere of intimidation. The
I bet.
COVID pandemic caused tremendous hardship and pain for millions of our fellow Americans and countless people around the world. Now, after years of lies and
Can we move beyond AI? Are people in his chat even thinking she's AI? Is this AI Tulsi? Did the official FBI, or no, I think this is Tulsi's account maybe. Or not FBI, CIA. Did the official Tulsi account post this and it's AI? Because I think that might actually be the case.
censorship and cover-ups, the American people deserve transparency, truth, and accountability. The tactics that were used to hide the truth are straight from the deep state playbook. Politicized self-serving leaders like Dr. Fauci covered up their own wrongdoing and abuses of power, manipulated intelligence, lied to
Trump is in power across the entire government, and yet somehow there's still a deep state. We're 6 years into Trump. We're 6 years into Trump, and he has ultimate, like, absolute power, and yet somehow there's still a deep state, and the deep state is still in control.
Congress and undermined a duly
That's crazy. And people say, oh, well, they're pardoned, so you can't do anything about it. That is insane to me. What do you mean? What do you mean?
elected president by restricting
Fundamentally, Asmongold has degenerated to the point of regularly calling for violence on his stream. And you might wonder, how is this allowed? Why is he able to get away with this? And the answer to that question is, he makes Twitch, like, the most money. There's just, these big tech platforms are held hostage by creators like Asmongold. They maybe want to enforce some kind of TOS against them. Maybe they don't want their platform to have someone like him as their face, but now Twitch literally cannot afford to ban him, which has essentially given him carte blanche to break all of the rules and to know pretty certainly he's never going to face any consequences. I'm not one that generally calls for bans and stuff, but it really is hard not to talk about when, as a progressive content creator here on YouTube, I get false strikes all the time for the things that the conservatives say in the videos I'm covering. Meanwhile, those channels see no strikes. Like, I regularly have to argue with YouTube about strikes for things said by the people I'm responding to on YouTube. And when that's the kind of standard that these big tech platforms apply their TOS in, where it's like, oh, they accidentally reveal their filter they have to prevent strikes from being auto-assigned to conservative accounts when they break TOS, when you accidentally play their words and that lack of a filter on your progressive channel hits you with a strike, it's hard not to know, oh, okay, so this is how it works, this is how it works. And it's hard not to call out the fact that these platforms have a double standard, because this guy's out here calling for extrajudicial fascist killing of Fauci, is what he's implying here. Let's not pretend like him and his chat aren't suggesting anything else. Anyway, if you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like and a comment. It really does help a lot in the algorithm. I appreciate it a ton. Subscribe and ring the bell icon if you want to see more from me. Follow my social medias. And of course, since I make these videos, stream them, edit them, upload them all on my own here on the channel, consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to somebody else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, if you want to go the extra mile and support me. It really helps. Or support me over on YouTube with a dono, a super sticker, or a super chat. I always appreciate it. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.